Now, usually when I talk about these things, I go and right ahead and explain what we're doing. But since I don't want to waste your time, since this is a very big story that I wrote, and it's ready for TMC's info, I decided I'll get straight into it now. Earth 10 2008. Now let's get this straight. It all began in 1999, November 6th, when I was in my prime era. So yeah, it's basically the whole plot of that movie, but with a twist. I was fading away during the runtime, and I ended up in another universe where I was a mirage? Wow, that's crazy. And so again, with that same plot from the 16th movie, that's when this goofball Pikachu killed me and Mew, and then I died. But I ended up going into a void instead of a happy home. But I was stuck here until a mysterious person in a black robe came up to me for a message. But since I was still evil at that time and didn't listen because my brain wasn't changed yet, then a fight scene between me and the stranger. So then after that, I was fainted into the ground, and I was trying to get up, but the stranger put her hand on my head, and some aura came from her hand, and my mind was changed to a better man. Soon, when that happened, I was told that in the future, Pokemon were slaved and be more obedient as usual. But it was way worse. They were forced to build houses and all the things that they imagined, abuse them and such. Then she told me she managed to escape her trainer and live a new life on the other side. Apparently, I was the chosen one for this adventure, and I gained some new powers. I no longer needed Mega Evolution due to it being useless for me, but I did get the power to create and destroy. I told her to lead me to the future, and she led me the way. We both stood there on a cliff on a hill as we watched the Pokemon being slaved. I had enough of seeing this, and I used my power to destroy all of their buildings and homes. Once they fell, all the Pokemon resisted their evil trainers and fought back against them. Soon after the resistance fought back, all the Pokemon around me and the stranger applauded for me for saving them from slavery. Sorry. I then became their new president or ruler or whatever. Chapter 2. After rebuilding the entire city with my power of creation, making homes, buildings, businesses, and all, I finally made what I call Pokemon City. A giant city built by me, and there was a thing I made before they entered the city. I gave all the Pokemon the decision if they wanted to be future or wild. If they chose future, they can be able to speak any language, work at jobs, live their own life starting with $500,000 to spend on anything they need for their home and work. Have a family for all I care. I want them to be free and live life like the humans used to do. And if they chose wild, Pokemon who chose the wild option will not have all the things that the future Pokemon have, but they'll stay in the nature of the Pokemon world, speaking in their Pokemon cries, in nature-like life. Oh, and I forgot to mention they can be eaten and used for farms, be pets, and more. After all the Pokemon made their decisions, I told the stranger if I'll ever see her again. She replied to me, "Soon, Mewtwo. I'll see you again. I shall work with my masters to help people." Then she opened a portal and left. I later soon bought a mansion to live with, and it was huge. So many rooms I can put stuff in. Chapter 3. But in a few months later, I met my friends Lucario, Greninja, Brixian, Shadow Mewtwo, Mecha Mewtwo, and Gallade. We lived together in the mansion and enjoyed the life we had. One day I was walking around the flower fields in Paldea Park. I then heard a voice coming from a short hill. I walked to it and saw a Gardevoir and a shiny Gallade. Apparently his name was Richard Evenings. Sorry, I can't pronounce Evenings. This guy was trying to prepare a wedding for this Gardevoir he met. She didn't feel interested in him at all. Richard was kind of desperate to be married with her. The Gardevoir told him, "Let's prepare tomorrow for the wedding. I got some things to do." Richard let her go and they went their ways. The Gardevoir walked to a place where there was a lovely pond and she began singing a song she wrote. It was called "Dazzling Gleam of a Voice." I heard the song and my heart was beating like crazy. Her voice sounded like an angel from the highest of all. After she sang her song, I walked to a bench near the park and decided to lay down on it. Falling asleep on the bench, moments passed. I heard footsteps of someone near the bench. I opened my eyes and saw the Gardevoir. I saw I saw her earlier singing, and she didn't see my tail or me in the bench, and she hopped on top of my tail real hard. I screamed in pain, and she quickly got up as she saw me. She said to me, "Oh God, I am sorry. I am so sorry there. Are you okay?" I replied to her, "Yeah, I'm fine. I was just relaxing here since I got bored and went here to listen to the nature of the park." She then noticed I was a Mewtwo. After I spoke my words to her, she came close to me saying, "You're a Mewtwo? Wow, I've never seen one before." She was in shock that I was a Mewtwo in front of her. She then began to sit down on the bench. I sat down next to her and decided to talk with her. We had a good conversation talking about life and the day. She told me about this Richard Evans guy, Galay guy, who she said was kind of desperate and uncomfortable. She told me he would always be next to her, forcing her to hold hands every time they walked together. I told her my past and story to her and explained how I'm here and where I got these powers from. She then told me this. If I sound weird, but I wish I had a Mewtwo as my love. I feel like Galades were overrated to begin love with. My parents forced me to stay in love with the Galades when I'm older because they said that they are the most trusted species a Gardevoir can have. I forgot what chapter we're in, so I'll just begin. She explained her life to me, and then she said this to me. The Mewtwo's were once our allies in wars and helped us fight battles with the other clans. One day, in a lovely afternoon, the Mewtwo's invaded the Sky Kingdom and killed my grandparents. They burned down homes and killed innocent people. I was told by my grandma before she died to leave with my mother and father. After my escape with them, I had a vision of me growing up and finding someone who I truly need. And then I saw you. After she said this, I was suddenly remembering something for when I was in the void. I asked her if she was ever that person in the black robe. A few minutes later, after I said that, she replied with a, "Yes, I was the person who changed your heart." I was surprised that she was the one who changed me. After a moment of silence, she came next to me and kissed me. I turned away for a while, just wondering what just happened. I then asked her if she wanted to go out at Poke Cafe. She said yes to my question, and then we walked to Poke Cafe. We got some coffee and a cookie for each of us. I got a heart-shaped one for us since I wanted her to feel my love for her. She giggled once I showed it to her. We had a great time together, and we went to my mansion. I introduced my friends to Gardevoir, and then we began having some amazing memories together with everyone. Many days go by along the journey, and soon Gardevoir gave birth to a beautiful young boy born on this world, Mew. Now you're wondering, isn't Mew the one who technically made all Pokemon? Perhaps you're correct, but this version of Mew was a small child and was born as a baby to live along with us. We took care of him and gave him all his needs. As a Mewtwo who is a father to him, I am sometimes responsible to him, mostly because he can take care of himself often. I'm usually a prankster to my friends and people I know since I'm a silly goober. Now my friends, my wife, and son are now technically a family? Well, I'm just a normal Mewtwo talking to you guys about my origin story. And that's the end. I better get going before Mecha Mewtwo finds out I'm using his robotic head to record this video. Well, gotta go. Bye! And that was it. That was actually one of the almost ones I need to do. Now, we're really close to finishing off TMC's info, so we're almost going to need the new version of his arsenal since the other one was outdated, and his forms. And yeah, that's kind of it. And we'll be done for the day. Well, I hope you guys have a good night and a good day. Adios.